World now. A new United Nations report accuses Israel of committing genocide in Gaza, citing 4 of the 5 acts defined under international law. Israel has categorically rejected these findings, calling them false and distorted. This comes as Israel launches a major new ground offensive in Gaza. We have more in this report.
Personal note for me as well.
United Nations Commissions of Inquiry has concluded that Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. The report says there are reasonable grounds to believe 4 of the 5 genocidal acts under international law have been carried out since the war with Hamas began in October 2023. The Commission cites statements by Israeli leaders and what it calls a consistent pattern of conduct by Israeli forces as evidence of genocidal intent. Israel's foreign ministry strongly rejected the report, denouncing it as distorted and false. It accuses the UN experts of serving as Hamas proxies and relying on misinformation.
The analysis contained in this report relates solely to the determination of genocide in the Gaza Strip between October 2023 and July 2025. The Commission nevertheless raises the serious concern that the specific intent to destroy the Palestinians as a whole is guiding Israel in its operations in the rest of the occupied Palestinian territory, that is, the West Bank, including East Jerusalem. It is also important to note that the events in Gaza since 7th October 2023 have not occurred in isolation. They were preceded by decades of unlawful occupation and repression under an ideology requiring the removal of the Palestinian population from their lands and their replacement.
The UN Commission says the acts of Israeli leaders are attributable to the state, which therefore bears responsibility for committing and failing to prevent genocide. It also warned other countries could be complicit if they fail to act. Meanwhile, in Gaza City, Israel has launched its most intense offensive yet. Airstrikes and ground forces pounded the city overnight, leaving at least 34 Palestinians dead by Tuesday morning. That's according to Gaza health officials. Displaced families once again packed their belongings and fled south. Long lines of cars and trucks stretched down Gaza's coastal road, while others walked on foot. Israel says the new operation is aimed at destroying Hamas's military infrastructure. But with over 64,000 Palestinians reportedly killed since the war began, humanitarian agencies warn that Gaza is facing total collapse. The report is the strongest UN-backed finding to date on Israel's conduct in Gaza, though it does not officially speak for the United Nations.
Thank you.
Global Affairs analyst Katrin Onuju joins me to talk about this latest report by the United Nations. It's good to have you join us at this time. Israel's foreign ministry has strongly rejected this report. They have denounced it, calling it false and distorted. They've also accused the UN expert of serving as Hamas proxies. What do you make of this?
Oh, well, this is a report that the world have known. It's just that the UN had to go in to also see if the outcry from the rest of the international community is true. And it has come out with its reports this Tuesday and has said in Geneva that what Israel is doing is similar to what happened in Rwanda in 1994. And it just shows you a failure of the international system. If Israel is known to be doing this genocidal actions, what has the international community been able to do? You see, it's one thing to say one thing. We know if we're going into the UN sessions, you're going to likely have the United States bring its veto power in trying to prevent any action against Israel in this regard. And I believe it is time the UN go further, apart from laying this judgment, to actually do something to be able to show that, yes, even that will bring a U.S. abstention, the U.S. should go on and do something to show that it does believe that there should be some kind of teeth and action to back its finding of genocide being committed by Israel in Gaza.
And this report may not come as news, especially to those who have been following this war since it began, the number of casualties especially. But to what extent do such findings influence international mechanisms of accountability, such as the International Criminal Court? And are we likely to see sanctions this time around?
Well, it's a very good thing. It's a positive sign that we have gotten to this extent, you know, because of the several people who sit on the UN board. It's always very difficult to get for the UN to go into issues like this, especially when it concerns Israel. Now they've gone in and they've come out. We'll be expecting a follow-up action from this public proclamation by United Nations Committee that Israel has committed genocide similar to the genocidal actions that we saw in 1994 in Rwanda. And so let us see where it goes from here. I have no doubt with this report by the UN Commission, you will see more members of the UN now move for some kind of action and vote in regards to this particular finding.
In a bid to ensure accountability, we saw this UN report also, warning other countries that they could be complicit if they decide to not act. We've seen major powers divided over this Gaza war. Has this likely to perhaps influence the shift in international strategies or intervention strategies in the war at this time?
Well, you need to understand internationally, strategy-wise, a lot of countries were just holding on. Some had gone on to, on their own, unilaterally condemn Israel and do what they think they want to do. But now that you have this international action by the UN, it probably may help to force some of them who are on the fence to actually bring a vote to bear in condemning Israel and probably moving from here to the next stage in regards to whatever the UN thinks should be the next line of action to deter others from going on, because we are also on the verge of another crisis, if possible, in South America, as the US thinks it wants to go unilaterally into Latin America to do something that I don't think the UN is going to sanction. So the earlier we do something in regards to Israel's genocidal actions in Gaza, the better for the international system and the international community.
And amidst this, Israel has begun another ground offensive in Gaza. More recently, this ground offensive has killed about 34 Palestinians. How do you think this likely will impact the trajectory of the war, looking at Israel's response, especially to that report?
Well, we know so far Israel is digging in, but the fact that it's calling out 60,000 reservists, that is not a very small ground offensive. 60,000 reservists are probably for them to do, more combing, and what Israel wants to do, we have seen it. Despite all their denials, we know they want to go mop up the Gaza Strip. They want to hold the Gaza Strip for probably their eventual actions as they have been speaking, in different tones, in different places, in different settings. We know Israel seeks to maintain a hold on Gaza. And of course, that's the reason why you see the Palestinians do not want to empty Gaza. They don't want to leave Gaza. No matter how bad it is, they want to stay in Gaza, because the more you leave Israel and you leave Gaza clean and empty, the better for Israel to now perpetuate its actions that it has thought about. Nothing Israel does in Gaza just happens. No, these are long-planned actions, but how to bring them to bear is what the international community's action has actually prevented them. And I can tell you, we know Israel's intention in Gaza. It wants to take over Gaza. Of course, Gaza is rich. Gaza has strong geological occurrences of hydrocarbons. And so long-term, there are reasons why Israel wants to take Gaza. And I believe the Palestinians and the rest of the Arab world know. You can say now, Israel is beginning now to extend the war to Qatar, bombing Qatar and citing that Qatar is probably, a hub for Palestinian leaders who are hiding, according to them, the Hamas leaders who are in Qatar. But of course, the U.S. doesn't like it. It says Qatar has been a very important ally for peace. That is true. And I believe the international action today by the UN will help to further put Israel on notice that the international community is very much interested in what is happening in Gaza.
So let's talk about more recently that attack in Qatar. If Israel actually has the right to attack, the legal right in this sense, to attack a sovereign state like Qatar, irrespective of its affiliations.
Israel has no right to attack Qatar. What Qatar has been is playing the role of a mediator. And we know that is true. But of course, Israel may not be happy that Qatar's sudden strength has been growing. Qatar mediated in the issue of America and the Taliban in Afghanistan. Qatar has also been mentioned in quite a lot of things that concerns the Middle East. And the U.S. seems to trust Qatar's ability to do the things it says it will do. So Qatar is becoming a very valuable ally for the international community, and the United States thinks so. So I believe Israel is wrong to try to go bomb Qatar. Whatever it is that it thinks, it's probably frustrated that it's not getting the answers it wants from Hamas. And then it tries to blame Qatar because of Qatar's support for the Hamas leadership. I believe that's the reason why Israel is trying to intimidate Qatar with bombing of Qatar quarters and its space. I believe that is wrong. And the international community are in order to condemn Israel for such unilateral actions.
I will wait out to see what Israel decides after this. They have regarded this report as false, calling the United Nations a proxy of Hamas. But let's see what's going to come out of that investigation. The UN investigation still continues on this war. But thank you for talking to us at this time. Global Affairs Analyst Catch Ononuju, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.